I'm James Milan, and I'm joined this morning by Arlington Police Captain Jim Curran, who has kindly offered to come in and speak to us today about the issue of safety generally on the Minuteman Bike Path, and specifically in response to several incidents of armed robbery that we have reported over the last number of months. So, Captain Curran, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
I wanted just to ask to begin with, if you could describe a little bit about the series of incidents I was just referring to. Can you tell us something about the frequency, for instance, of these armed robberies?
We had 4 armed robberies. 3 out of the 4, I believe, were in August.
And so that was within 4 incidents within a month or so?
Yes.
And is that usual, unusual?
It is unusual. The situations involved usually young males who happen to get isolated. I think 2 of our victims were 24 years old, were probably the oldest. And situations where I think 3 out of the 4 robberies involved being on the bike path after hours, which is between 9 and 5.
How many assailants? Are these usually single assailants? Can they be multiple assailants in these incidents?
In almost all of them, there's been at least 2. We had one down by Thorndike Field as a gentleman was getting off the tee from college, from school. He got isolated, and there were 2 masked assailants. I believe one of them had a 4-inch blade.
Yeah, I was also going to ask, are there weapons typically being used in these incidents, or is there a whole range of arms being wielded?
Usually, in 2 out of the 4, they're alleged to have a knife. The other times, it's intimidation, or they get sneaky.
What has been the response of the Arlington Police Department to these incidents?
Well, I can proudly say we've got a young, aggressive department. Most of our officers have grown up in Arlington, and they really take a great deal of pride in what they do. And the chief really, he actually stunned me. He's really big on getting our officers out there into the public. And so he invested a lot of time and effort making sure that we got our officers cobweb trained, which is specialized training for bike officers. We just had 10 officers go through that training. And needless to say, when stuff like this happens, people out there might not know, but they could be riding a bike right next to an officer.
The bike path spans 4 different communities, beginning in Cambridge and Somerville area, and then moving through Arlington, Lexington, Bedford. Wondering whether you know about whether there's similar rate of incidents in the other communities. What can you tell us, if anything, about the other communities?
Well, I can say Lexington obviously had at least one, because the same suspect that we charged was involved in one in Lexington. We're fortunate enough we have a woman by the name of Danielle Smith, who's our crime analysis person. She does an unbelievable job. We're fortunate to have her. She came from the Fusion Center, which is the state police version of crime analysis. And she knows the stuff inside out. In fact, she prepared me all this material for today. And because we're trying to get to the point where we can almost forecast where we think something's going to happen and be there. And because we're trying to get to the point where we can almost forecast where we think something's going to happen and be there. And that's the way of the future.
Well, thanks very much.
All right. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. For Arlington Public News, I'm James Milan.